Welcome to episode 8 of On Your Marks. Today we've got Caleb Gilbert, the Whiz from Wangaratta. I'm joined today by Caleb. He's a 20-year-old middle distance runner from country Victoria in a town called Wangaratta. He has raced quite regularly over 1,500 metres and also over 3,000 metres up to 5,000 metres on the track, plus cross-country over the past few years. He has PBs at the moment that stand at 3:47 for 1,500 metres, 8:22 for 3,000 metres and 14:41 for 5,000 metres. Some of his race results, which have been really impressive, have included a second place in the Victorian under-20 boys 5,000 metres in the 14:41. Also, he came in the top 12 in the Zatopek Di Castella Junior 3,000 metres back in 2024, late 2024. Some great performances in the last 18 months in the NCAA Division 2, where he has raced on the track and in cross-country, including making nationals. Caleb snagged a scholarship at the University of Charleston in West Virginia. Since moving to the US in January 2025, Caleb has predominantly been a miler. Caleb's progression has been as follows in his pet event, the 1,500 metres. He ran a 4:01 aged 17, a 3:51 aged 19, and now a 3:47 aged 20. So welcome to the show, Caleb. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me on, Sean.
And you're back home in Wangaratta now, is that right?
Yeah, I've been home for the last 3 weeks and head back the first week of August.
Yep, so a good 10 weeks back in the hometown. No doubt you're very happy to be back home with your family and catching up with a few mates.
Yeah, definitely seeing the parents and a few friends. Just having some downtime in general has been good after a pretty busy semester.
Very good. And how's the weather back home compared to what it would be in Charleston at the moment?
Shocking. The last 2 days, Sean. It's just been raining, cold. You've definitely got to get up there in Queensland.
Yeah, we're enjoying it up here. Oh, well, you might need to move up after you've graduated. Plenty of work up here now. It's a very developing region in Australia. But anyway, I mean, you're a Victorian, so you guys are used to it. You're tough as nails when it comes to, particularly in the bush, when you're dealing with all kinds of weather. So, Caleb, where did your running journey begin? How old were you when you started running seriously?
It kind of all started when I was in primary school. I just raced the cross-country races that they hold. Found myself winning the primary school races that I went to. And then you slowly move through districts, regionals, states, and then I usually go to states and get smoked. But I played footy and basketball on the side till around 16, 17, and then I started to take the running seriously after there, and that's when I joined you.
There you go. And I coached you online for a while. That's great. So you said you played basketball and footy. You are quite tall. How tall are you, Caleb?
6'2".
6'2", which in centimetres is about 190, is it?
I think 188.
188, close enough to one. You might have grown. You might need to remeasure. It seems like you're about 198 when I've seen you. But anyway, there you are. Now you mentioned you went through the zone region and all that. So what region are you in Wangaratta? Which region in Victoria?
Northeast Victoria.
Northeast Victoria, yeah. And that would encompass which other towns?
It does like Benalla, Shepparton, Wodonga. Up in the Alps there. I actually don't know if it's Bendigo or not. I can't remember.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, surprisingly, a couple of good juniors have come from the Alps area of late. I think the Frankie, is that how you pronounce it, Sam? The Frankie brothers have come from up that way. Yeah.
Yeah, the Frankie boys up in Mount Beauty there.
Yeah.
Not sure if they're running as such. I saw Alex in Europe riding.
Okay, yeah, I heard one or two of them were either riding and or triathlon. So yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting there. I guess there'd be plenty of climbing when they were growing up, plenty of good, tough bike rides there that they would have encountered. So there you go. So that you had to race in your region. You had quite a wide area to cover, and that would have involved quite a bit of travel, no doubt, for mum and or dad to drive you here, there, and everywhere. And obviously, when you got to state, a fair drive down to Melbourne as well. So now, did you do similar kind of thing with your basketball and or your football? Did you have to travel all over the place to go to different events and carnivals and competitions and whatnot?
Not as far. The furthest we travel is Myrtleford or Mansfield. But mostly pretty local and Wangaratta here.
How were you at basketball and footy with that height?
Pretty average, I'd say. Nothing special.
Fair enough.
Just enjoyed the team aspect of it.
Beautiful. Alrighty. So now, in your young years, then, like primary and right through high school, did you have a few local coaches, or did anyone look after you in particular, coaching-wise?
Not really, to be honest. When growing up, we had like a small group here in Wang. As you know, from Hill, his dad kind of took us under his wing for a bit when we were younger. And then as we got older, around 15, 16, 17, it was kind of just left to myself. And then when I started taking it in seriously, I contacted you and kick-started from there.
You did very well too. So what years were you coached by me online? Can you let the listeners know there what time frame?
I was looking back, late 2022. It might have been early 2023. But even those early years, I had a lot of issues with injury, as you'd know. But yeah.
You developed nicely though, and you were mainly flying solo. You were doing a bit of running with Flynn and a few other local boys, weren't you, during that 2023-2024 period? So look, I do remember your local results in Vic Milers, and in particular you had a great race at Zatopek and in around that same time frame in the Victorian 5,000 metre championships as well. But you always struck me as a good up-and-coming miler with your build, your long stride and fairly powerful frame and whatnot. What do you regard as your pet event at the moment? Would it be the mile and the 1500?
It's definitely changed. I thought it was more the 3K, 5K maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But as of recent, I'd probably say the mile 1500.
Very good. Did you step up at all? I haven't noticed in the results at all, but did you step up or down, I might say, and race over 800 metres or anything short, or even 1,000 metres in the college in your first year and a half over there?
I did 1K. It was more just a part of training.
Okay.
But something I definitely want to do is get back to the 800. I think like stepping down and getting that different stimulus for the 1500 is going to help me.
Have your squad or yourself in particular done any time trials over the shorter stuff, like 400, 600, 800 in training?
No, we don't usually time trial in training.
Fair enough. So you don't really know what you could do over a 200 or a 400? You wouldn't have tried a flat out 2 or a 4 or anything like that?
The boys talk about it. I know it's hard to say. I'm not going to put a number out there.
Fair enough, yeah. A lot of young middle distance runners like to talk up their speed and their kick, and it's amazing how many 8 and 1500 metre runners think they've got the best kick going around, and then they really get found out in the races eventually one way or the other. But as you probably know, you need to be strong enough to be able to produce whatever kick you have, don't you? So you need to be good over cross country as well. So describe a few of your training partners. You mentioned the boys and a bit of banter and a bit of talk about speed and that kind of thing. Describe a few of your training partners.
Wow. Describing them, it's going to be very hard to do. They're a crazy bunch of people. They're good to hang out with. You know, you've got good friends like Harry Webb, shout out. He's a pace pusher. My roommate, Matthew O'Shea, another shout out. They're all a good bunch of lads. to hang out with. They can be annoying at times, don't get me wrong, but no, they're good.
So you mentioned Harry being a pace pusher. Do you mean in training on long runs, or is it like in track work, or is it pretty well in everything? He's just a natural leader.
No, this guy, when it's easy days, he'd be going close to 4 minutes per K and just chilling at 440s or something.
Sure. Is he more of a long distance runner, Harry?
Yeah, he's 5K, 10K.
And what can Harry run over 5 and 10?
I think he's ran close to 30 minutes. Might be 30-30 in a 10K.
Yeah, very good.
And then he copped an injury back in December. Came back and run 1440 something off barely any training.
Okay.
But he's capable much better.
Yeah. So you mentioned Harry having an injury. Have you had many injuries since you've been over there in Charleston?
Zero.
No. So what would someone like Harry do, or anyone on your team for that matter, what would they do when they're injured? What sort of facilities do you have at the university to cater for cross training, for rehab, for treatment, anything like that?
Yeah, we have athletic trainers. We book in, and then we go into the gym. We've got some bikes, elliptical, and then any strength stuff that you need to work on. Yeah.
Sounds like a really good setup there. Now tell us about your coach. Who is your coach and what are they like? Or coaches?
Nick Bias. He's been the head coach of the University of Charleston for almost 10 years. It might be 10 years now. And then as well we have Coach Redwood, who's our 800 metre coach.
Okay, so do you work with both the coaches in your training?
Yeah, Bias is really good on the cross-country side. And then comes back to the 800 metre guys. She's been helping me as well with the speed in the gym. It's been good.
How much gym work have you done now being an NCAA student there compared to when you were a much younger junior back in Wangaratta?
Actually very similar.
Okay.
With a lot of the injuries I had when I was in Australia, I was in the gym a lot trying to fix that. But our current program, we do twice a week.
Very good. And what are your go-to exercises? What are the main things you think that are really helping you keep injury-free and also help make you stronger and more powerful for your running?
I think every single program should have calf raises, a lot of lower leg exercises. Can't go wrong with the back squats.
Yep. Any plyometrics?
We schedule those in a little bit in our gym sessions. Our 800 metre coach there did have us doing once a week.
And do you have any scheduled cross training, even if you're injury free? Do you add on cross training to your running program?
No. Mostly just mileage if you can handle it.
Fair enough. So you mentioned mileage if you can handle it. Let's just say you capped out at 120k a week, or it could be any runner on the team. You capped out at whatever the figure was, but that athlete wanted to do even more and build up even more of an aerobic engine and maybe improve their VO2 max or improve on something. What do you have at your disposal for added cross training or any other kind of training? Do you have any special treadmills like an Alter G or underwater treadmill or anything like that?
Yeah, so something I utilise a bit, especially in cross country. We have an Alter G or a boost treadmill, whatever you call it. I try and use that whenever the body's pretty beat up. But it's also good for the athletes that are going through injuries and coming back from injuries.
Very much so. What percentage body weight do you put the boost treadmill to?
I typically put it at 88 to 90.
And is that on a recovery run or when do you use it?
Yeah, recovery runs.
Excellent. Well, yeah, keep using that. I've seen that work wonders back in my Sydney days. We had one in the garage, not a boost, an Alter G, same thing. And it worked wonders for people who, they might have only been able to handle a certain amount of mileage, like one run a day, and so they do their doubles on the machine. And obviously with people who are injured as well, like there were some pretty horrific injuries I've seen where people could still jump on a fairly low percentage of their body weight and get through a lot of training, and then by the time they were back full weight bearing again and doing normal running with 100% of their weight, they barely lost any fitness. In a couple of cases, they were probably fitter than they were before they got injured on day one when they were running on land. So they're like a miracle machine, I think. So I'd utilise that as much as you can in your final 2.5 years there, I reckon. So you're lucky you've got that. All right, so how many kilometres, talking about mileage, how many kilometres per week are you, or had you been averaging, let's just say in the last half a year to a year, like you would have had your cross-country season from September through till December, then indoor, not long after that for a few months, and then going into outdoor, which you've just completed. Run us through the kind of mileage you were doing in that last 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, so in cross-country season, I would sit around 120.
Yep.
It'd vary a little bit on race weeks, but I try my best to try and be consistent around 120, 115. And then moving towards indoors, we decreased a little bit just to try and keep the legs fresh, sitting around 110, 105. And then towards the outdoor season, we sit around 100.
Very good. Now, does that include the boost treadmill mileage? Do you include, let's say you're running at 85%, do you include that as part of your 110k a week if you were doing 110k a week?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's all good. Do you put that on your Strava when you're on the treadmill?
I do.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, I think you should. Probably make a note of it though. That's what I'd personally do if it was me. I'd make a note of it at 90% of body weight or something like that as an add-on to the description. All right. So what are your typical training sessions and runs, and what locations would you typically use?
Yes, I can run through your week if you like.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great.
So Monday we usually go to a golf course. It's called Coonskin. It's about an 11k run. And then we have a turf field where we do soccer. We do our stride jump on there for. And then Tuesdays, usually our longer aerobic day. So we'll be on the road doing thresholds or at the track. And then Wednesday we're in the state forest there. Quite a lovely area, especially in the fall. And then Thursdays on our own. Our coach kind of gives us the freedom to run whenever we want. And then Friday will be more of our Pacific day, usually at the track, or it really is season dependent. Could be on the grass, and usually most athletes Saturday off. And then our long run depends on if we've raced on a Saturday, we'll be on our own. Otherwise, we take us out to a nice trail about 30 minutes away.
Very good. So tell us about that golf course you run on a Monday. Do you just run up and down? Are you able to run right through the middle of the fairways, or are you running around the perimeter on the trails, or how does that work?
We don't run directly on the golf course. It's kind of like a mixed golf course, soccer facility, and yeah, we just do our strides on the turf there, but we don't usually jump on the course and run.
Sure, yeah. And the forest you run in on a Wednesday, what's that like? Is it a pine forest, or what sort of forest are you talking? What kind of trail?
Yeah, it's just like the big state forest there. A nice curvy road. In the fall, it's really nice with all the leaves. Has like a gun range there. I don't know, it's really pretty. It's nice.
Are you running on like vehicular roads, like proper dirt and gravel roads, or are they more single track, or what sort of thing are you running on through there?
Yeah, it's nice that you have your choice. You get to go on the trails, get more hills, or you can stick to the road and go out and back on the flat.
Oh, great facility there for you. And then when you do your long run 30 minutes away, how's that different?
It's pretty similar. You can choose to make it hilly or flat. Usually in cross country to be hilly.
Okay. And the layout of Charleston, that's on a river, right? I think I've seen on your Strava you're right by a river there. Do you tend to run along the river a bit as well?
Yeah, so when we run from campus, I like to do the river loop. It's quite nice, especially when it's warm. But yeah, we live there on the river.
Very nice. And what's the population of Charleston?
Ooh, I actually don't know. It'd be very similar to like an Albury.
Okay, yeah, so very much a university town then, would you say?
It's not a typical college town. I'd say more general population. We've got around 3,000 students.
Okay. Yeah.
I think.
Very good. So how many people are on your cross country and your middle distance squad? How many distance runners, middle and long distance runners are there in total?
Yeah, so on the men's side, we have about 20 guys. In terms of like middle distance guys.
Yep.
Maybe 10 to 12. Mixing between like 800, 1500, 3K.
Very good. And is there a female program there as well?
Yeah, we also have a females program. It's a little smaller, maybe 10 to 15 girls.
Okay. Now, going back to your long runs, what kind of pace are you averaging and how long are you running now? What sort of elevation would you encounter on a typical long run?
Yeah, it's really season dependent. In cross country, it can be like progressions or a certain period of the long run where it's at threshold or a bit slower. And then if you add hills in there, that's another element. In terms of like elevation, you usually try and get 200 meters.
Yep. So like a rolling course over normally about 20k, typically?
Yeah, 20k. I'm going to hope to bump that up a bit.
Sure. Alrighty. Yeah, 20k is probably about right for a middle distance runner on about 110k a week average. That's good. So what is your favourite session that you typically do during the track season?
Can't go wrong with 300 or 400 at 1500 metre pace.
Yep. So about how many 300s would you do? What kind of recovery? And do you do them in sets at all?
Not straight sets. It's like mixed into different distances. It's just kind of like my favourite distance there.
Very good. What can you bang out a really quick 300 in if you put the afterburners on?
I remember one of my teammates took me through in about 41 one rep. It was way too quick, but it felt reasonably comfortable.
Wow, well, there you go. You're moving there, that's for sure. And how about cross country? Can you recall any really fantastic cross country sessions that you've done and you thought, gee, I really enjoyed that?
That was one really tough one. I think it was kind of 2x500, getting out quick, practicing like the cross country start into 10x K. Kind of at race pace for 10K.
How much recovery after each K?
I think it was 90 seconds.
Very good. Yeah, long workout. That's great. You need that when you're racing over 8 to 10k. When you do your cross country races, are you doing more 8 or 10ks in Div 2?
Both.
Both. Yeah. And so the championship ones, are they 8 or 10?
10k.
They're 10. Yeah. Very good. How do you find it? Do you prefer an 8 or a 10?
Well, the shorter the better. But just got to build your reputation, really.
Okay. Now, you mentioned a roommate before. Are you currently living on campus or off campus?
On campus.
Yeah, you're planning to remain there for your entire stay?
We're actually required to stay on campus as athletes.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
Yeah. What's the setup there? Do you get to go to the dining hall, brekkie, lunch and dinner, or whenever you need to?
Yeah, our cafeteria is open breakfast, lunch and dinner. We also have a little coffee tavern that's open in the morning.
Okay, so good coffee there?
Not as good as Australia.
Fair enough. And how about the food? How do you rate the food in the dining hall?
It's okay. Some days can be a little rough. But I try and just keep it pretty basic. Rice, chicken, just what I need.
Awesome. Yep. Okay. So what do you think are the main benefits of being on scholarship in an NCAA college?
It's nice. Well, firstly, like just the people you meet. I've made so many connections all over the world. But like more the fees is a nice part of it. Yeah, just like the racing experiences you get. I've been lucky and fortunate enough to get taken to some pretty high quality meets. Getting that experience has been good.
Which meets have been the most memorable for you? Which have really stood out?
Raleigh this year, we're around 3:47, was a big one.
Where did you come in that race?
I came fourth in that race.
Yeah. Do you remember who won and what time they ran?
I think it was a guy from Michigan State.
Okay.
No, Queens actually. He ran 3:45.
Very good. When did he pull away from you?
I took the lead around 2:50 to go, and then he dropped like a 26 last 200.
Wow. Gee, really must have kicked well to do that. There you go, hey? Yeah, you do have a good finish. I do remember your good finish. That's great. So how's your gear? How's the Charleston kit with the apparel and what kind of shoes? Who are the main shoe sponsor there?
Yeah, I was still sponsored by Nike there.
Yeah.
We usually receive some gear at the start of every year.
Yeah. That's good. So obviously you do a lot of training and you do a fair bit of racing as well. What are your main go-to trainers for your typical aerobic workouts? Do you get super shoes as well? Do you ever train in super shoes? And how about spikes for racing and training?
My daily trainers, the Nike Structures.
Yeah.
And then for long runs, I like the Nike, what are they called? Nike Wangaratta Plus.
Okay, yeah.
And then,
how about super shoes?
I've actually got a pair of Adidas Evo SL I've been wearing.
Okay.
And then Nike Vaporflies, and then the Dragonfly Elites for the track.
Nice. So you're going with the stock standard Nike trainers and racing shoes by the sound of it there. And yeah, that's good. And let's just say your favourite pair of shoes wear out. Do you get the opportunity to get another pair? Like let's just say the glue came unstuck, or you're just doing a lot of mileage and they lost their punch. Do you get the option of getting another pair of shoes like mid-season or anything like that?
Not usually.
Yeah, you've got to make them last.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, so how often do you see like a sports medical person, like a physio or even a massage therapist or that sort of thing? Is that at needs basis, or do you go to see people regularly for checkups, or how does that work?
It's usually left up to the athletes. We have a system in our phone where they can book in online.
Yeah.
So whether it's just maintenance or you actually need treatment pretty quickly, you can book there online and get basically whatever you need.
Sure. Do you need much maintenance in the form of massaging, stretching, anything like that?
Not usually. I have some tools I use myself.
Yep. Well, that's good. So, Caleb, you've progressed nicely over the last few years in the 1500 metres. So you've mentioned it's become your favourite event, the 1500 metres and the mile. Do you have any aims to move up more seriously to the 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 while you're at college, for example, or do you want to just keep being a mile specialist?
I'd like to move up and down. So doing more 3Ks and 800s. Usually coach structures after cross country we do one 5K.
Yep.
So hopefully I can smash out a good 5K and leave it there. But then in the 3K I'd like to run pretty quick indoors. and then use that 800 to really help me with the 1500.
Mm-hmm. Do you follow any of the top milers in the world? Anyone from the good Brits going around to Inga Britson, even though he's been injured lately, to the good Aussies like Ollie Hoare and Cam Myers? Do you follow them much at all? And what they've been up to?
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of the sport actually.
Yeah.
So I'm always watching it.
Yeah, so you're probably aware that they do tend to have quite a big racing range anyway, don't they, to be a good miler? You know, they've nearly all jumped in an 800 metres somewhere along their journey. Some do it regularly, like a Whiteman. And Kerr seems to be fairly fond of a couple of 800s, and even Cam Myers has jumped into an 800 the other day in 144 dead. He made it look easy.
Yeah.
Don't think Ollie Hoare's 9 and 8, but then people, you know, they nearly all have a go at a 3,000 or a 5,000 metres off an early season, don't they? So, and often someone like an Inga Britson, for example, would be running cross countries as well, very, very well when he was at his peak. So obviously, you know, you need to be a good all-rounder to be a good miler, don't you?
Yeah, it was probably the mistake I made. Just too many 1500s in consecutive in a row.
Yeah.
So that's something I'll fix next year.
Fair enough. Look, even going back to the greats from yesteryear, people like Steve Ovett was one of the best 1500 metre milers of all time, and he was versatile enough to win the Commonwealth gold in the 5,000. Someone like Said Awida, again one of the great milers in the world, but he literally won the Olympic 5,000 metres, and on another occasion he got a bronze in the 800 metres in the Olympics. So, but he probably tell people now, as an old guy looking back, I was a miler, but I needed to have that range to be able to perform really well in the other events as well. John Walker was another one. You know, he made the Olympic final in the 5,000 metres when he was past his best, but he was obviously very strong. And I think Walker might have even come third at one point, third or fourth, definitely top 5 in the world cross country. He was that strong, but he was a miler. He was the first man in history to do, I think, 100 4-minute miles, 100 sub 4-minute miles. So, and, you know, Olympic gold medalist in the 1500 metres, among many other things. But yeah, not only that, but was right up there in the world cross country. So you need to have that range. And I guess as a young athlete yourself, you need to keep getting stronger and try to aim at the other end, at the pointy end for your speed as well. You need to be an all-rounder, don't you? You need a wide arsenal there in your weaponry. So how do you find like your cross-country races over 8-10k compared to your 1500 metre track races?
Typically I've struggled. Actually, to be honest, like my freshman year of cross-country was really my first full cross-country season I've ever had. When I was with you there for a bit, I did one cross-country season, but it was a bit inconsistent. So this was kind of my first consistent season. But I think just another year of aerobic development, I'm only going to get better.
Yeah. So that's in the not too far distant future there. You've got, 10 weeks back in Wangaratta, and then you'll be jumping off the plane, you'll be in Charleston, and next thing you know, you'll be having a team meeting, no doubt, and it'll be okay, boys. Now we have our cross-country season coming up. What have the coaches given you to do in Wangaratta in the meantime, like in this off-season?
Yes, I had 2 weeks completely off after outdoors.
Yep.
And then coach gave me 2 unstructured weeks to kind of choose whatever I want, but I'm hitting a certain mileage. And now I just started this week, I'm in structured training.
Very good. I think you did, were there 4 or 5 minutes you were doing the other day, for example? 5 by 5?
My first session back yesterday.
Was that 4 by 5 minutes?
4 minutes.
Yeah. And you were hitting about 320 pace by the look of it, I think?
Yeah, just keeping it pretty chill.
Keeping it chilled, and then that'll gradually build, will it? Have you got the program for the whole 10 weeks, or will you be giving it every week or two, or how does that work?
We have a general idea what the next 10 weeks will look like.
Yeah.
But yeah, just increasing the volume, not so much the intensity.
Yeah.
But mostly volume, yeah.
And trying to keep it consistent and jump off that plane ready to rock and roll with the boys. And have you already spoken before you've departed college there as a team as to what the goals might be for that cross country season?
Yeah, so our best finish at NCAAs was 8, I think.
Yep.
Coach
And that's 8 out of how many teams are in or how many schools are actually in Division 2?
I think 32 qualify.
32 qualify, but probably 200 or 300 nationally.
Yeah, I think there's around 250 competitors.
So similar to Division 1. So 8 is amazing out of like 300 or so schools. Yeah, so
that was a few years back now. We came this year somewhere in the low 20s. I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
Our team was just had so many injuries. Kind of left us really thin up top.
Yeah.
That's something we'll look to improve. And basically just trying to get back to where our program was 4 years ago when we came 8th.
Do you think the team, the current set of boys there, have the firepower to get back in the top 10 if they can remain injury free and fit and healthy?
I think so. Yeah. I think just staying healthy and consistent is going to be the biggest thing.
Unreal. So it sounds like you've been able to do that yourself, keep injury free, and therefore you've been progressing nicely. So you had that one cross country season already over there. And your team came low 20s. Where did you come as an individual in that race?
I ran totally that race. Totally on me. I think I came 200.
Yeah. Out of 250 odd?
Close to 300, I think.
Close to it. And you must have run pretty well. I think you did off memory in the conference and the regionals, is that right? And other meets leading up to that?
Conference was a ridiculous course. Not suited for me at all. Easy hills.
Yeah.
But then at regionals I came 15th, which was probably the best race of my season.
Yep. Yeah, that's very handy indeed, coming 15th. And is that the Eastern region? Is that right? Or
it's the Mountain East region and the PSAC.
Okay. What does PSAC stand for?
I actually don't know. They're located in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, right. Okay. Oh, very good. So, that should be exciting for you anyway to, build while you're back home with the eye on the prize of hopefully being one of the better runners on the team. Where would you rate cross country wise on your team? Where would you be ranked out of the current Charleston squad?
Well, last year I was our 5th guy.
Yep.
But with a lot of injuries, I was expected to be around 7 or 6. But I'd like to solidify my spot around the 5, 4 mark, kind of just do my role.
Good on you. So hopefully improve a bit, get a bit stronger and climb up the ladder a bit. How about in the middle distance stops? Where were you ranked there when it came to the track racing?
I had the quickest indoor mile and the quickest 1500. I've got a few teammates there. I had Hugo Hewitt, who's now graduated, who's in and around me, trained with. And then Jules as well, who's coming back next year. He's a good teammate for us.
Very good. So it sounds like you're one of the main studs on the track then.
Yeah, I guess.
Very good. Awesome. And trying to build on that cross country so maybe you can become a hot shot nationally, which would be very exciting to see. Wonderful. So what are your running goals for the rest of 2026 and beyond?
So for cross country, definitely want to be top 100 if I can at NCAAs. I think it really sets you up well for indoor and outdoor. And then I don't really want to sugarcoat it, but making NCAAs for indoors and outdoors. Probably in the mile. Hopefully we'll have a good DMR team next year. And the 15 outdoors.
Very good. So in the DMR you'd run the longer leg, no doubt, the mile, and then you'd get a few other guys running a 1200, 800. Is that right?
I've actually been on the 1200 leg, which I've liked. It's like a sweet spot for me.
Yeah, right.
And then one of our Kenyans runs the mile.
Good. Okay. Oh, good luck with all of that. Um, so, do you have a special diet? You've mentioned you're kind of limited to your chicken and rice. Is there anything you're really looking? You're counting calories or anything like that, or do you pretty well eat to hunger and just enjoy your food?
Just enjoy it as much as I can. Eat a lot, especially when you're in high volume
Yeah.
blocks.
Do you look at any recovery window where you're consuming anything after a workout or anything like that?
Yeah, so after workouts and long runs, I always try and get something in pretty quick, whether it's another boost of carbohydrates or protein.
Yep. And just for getting the healthy side of things for a minute, what are your favourite foods, or what would be your favourite dish? Or if there's one meal in the world, it could be dessert, could be entree, could be main, what would be, or anything, a snack. What is your favourite food?
I love a good wood-fired pizza.
Ah, yeah. Oh, yeah, you've got me going there now. Fantastic. Oh, that sounds all right. Brilliant. Can't beat that. So, is there one race in the world that you've dreamt about or would ever dream about doing one day?
Not really, to be honest. Yeah. I think it'd be cool post-college, trying to make an Australian Open final.
Yeah.
But in the coming years, entering the Europe scene, I think would be cool.
Awesome. Why not? There's so many opportunities over there. Countries like England and France and Germany have very similar setups to the Vic Milers, which you've done in Victoria and Australia. With the British Milers Club, they were the ones who started that whole thing, I think. But in France, they're just loaded with middle distance meets there. Germany, similar setup, and other countries as well. So Europe's always a good place to go as a first port of call if you want to do international races. And you don't have to be in Diamond League form to get into a good race in Europe. There's so many runners over there, it's just unbelievable. As there are in America, but I guess you're more strung out there. And to be honest, in America, you're right in the thick of it in the NCAA. Like post-collegiately, the opportunities aren't as good, I don't think. You do have pro runners, but they tend to be real hot shots, and the races are few and far between even for them. If they really want to be pushed, often they need to go over to Europe after a while once they've had a couple of races in America. Yeah. Who's your current favourite runner in the world and why? If you picked one runner.
Ooh. It's hard to go past what Myers is doing at the moment. I actually do really like Josh Kerr.
Yep.
I think he's good for the sport and kind of shows what it takes to be good.
He has that very professional setup there with a big team behind him, including dietitian and a psychologist and a whole bunch of things, doesn't he? And he's really looks after his sponsors. He does good social media and he's been around quite a long time now. If you look at the collegiate career and now the pro career, and got a few very shiny medals there to prove that it wasn't a waste of time. He's certainly put in the hard yards and reaped the rewards with major championship medals. So yeah, good luck to him there. And Cam Myers would be about your age, wouldn't he?
I think he's a year younger.
Yeah, younger. Okay.
Scary to think about.
Yeah, because Cam's not far if he hasn't quite turned 20 now. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Do you have a favourite Aussie athlete of all time?
I think what Mottram did was pretty cool in 2006 Com Games when he was taking on all those East Africans. That's a memory I kind of remember.
Yeah, that was quite incredible. I remember being in the G watching that, and I also remember being in the G, I remember being at the G watching the 1500 metre final as well, when he was probably the favourite to win because he could run a good mile as well as a good 5k and 3k. But he fell. And then I remember it being really loud before the fall, and then you could have heard a pin drop for about 10 seconds after the fall. I think everybody out of those 100,000 people or whatever the crowd was there was shocked, or majority was shocked, and then pretty well it was game over. It was a bad fall. He took a long time to get up, and then that was it. And I did hear, and he has confirmed it's true as well, that after that unbelievable 5K where he ran a blinder, maybe the best race of his life, but he still got beaten by the better man on the night. I don't think he was overly happy getting beaten, and he not long after the quick wave to the crowd and a couple of handshakes. I'm not sure if he shook too many hands because he would have been fired up by the sound of it. But he went into a tunnel and there was a Coke machine or some kind of food vending machine, and I think he tackled it over.
Really?
Yeah, I think he literally pushed it off its standing position. So he was that fired up with just narrowly being beaten. So there you go. But that's the kind of mentality it would take to often, to be able to run at that level. You need to be fired up and want to win, and that's how badly he wanted to win, right up to including the crunch time, and just after the race he would have still had that adrenaline there and that desire to win. So there you go. Now I'm going to give you a few quick fire questions here, Caleb, and you just have to answer one or the other of them. Okay, so here we go. Choose an option out of the two presented in each question. First of all, Cam Myers or Sebastian Sawe?
Cam Myers.
Okay, Wangaratta or Charleston?
Stay low, Wangaratta.
USA or Australia?
Australia.
Meat pies or hot dogs?
Meat pies.
AFL or American football?
AFL.
Cricket or baseball?
Cricket.
Board shorts or jeans?
Big George guy.
Working or sleeping?
Gotta get a recovery. Sleeping.
Chin-ups or push-ups?
Depends when you ask me. At the moment, push-ups.
Very good. So very loyal to Australia there. Well done, Caleb. So thank you so much for coming on today. It's been wonderful being able to catch up with you and seeing you still looking fit as a fiddle, and I know you're running really well. So thank you for coming onto the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sean.
Welcome, and enjoy your break, and I hope you can keep building, keep your eye on the prize, keep focused. I'm sure you will. You've always been very good at doing that. Good.
Yeah,
so in closing, we can see that Caleb is a young runner who's currently on a big adventure a long way from home, even though he's back home at the moment. Running has taken him to the other side of the world from Wangaratta, and he's making the most of it. After several years of solid results and great progression, he is now knocking on the door of becoming one of the better Div 2 milers on the track. We wish him the very best of luck for a bright running future. And in closure now, thanks for watching and listening, folks. Don't forget to keep your toes behind the line at the start and always run really hard through the finishing line, and what you do in between is up to you. Bye for now.